a production of the Mesa Chamber of Commerce. Visit us at mesachamber.org.
Hey, hello everybody, if you can hear me, this is a new approach, so wave at me if you can hear me, please. Good, wonderful, good, that's fabulous. Good morning to everyone. How exciting to be moving back into some sense of normalcy, I think, with at least a hybrid. We have a few brave souls in-house this morning, and we're looking forward to a very busy slate of speakers this morning. So let's see, how many people do we have? Do we have the time to go around and everyone introduce themselves for the
Probably not.
Okay, so one of the great things about Zoom, obviously, is that your names do appear. So we do at least have that. So then with, I am Joan Kruger, the speaker, or I'm sorry, the chair for this morning, and I'll try to keep this thing flowing along. And so with no further ado, I believe that our City Council member, Mr. Luna, is going to give us a City of Mesa update. Are we ready to go? Yes. Excellent, thank you.
Well, good morning, everybody. So I'm really going to give you an update of District 5. District 5 is Northeast Mesa. That's the area that I represent. So I'm honored that I was elected to serve in that position. This is actually my 8th year as City Council member in District 5. And I have a year and a half left, and then I'll be done. I'll be termed out. But it's been a pleasure to be able to serve the residents and the citizens of District 5. And I also want to thank my colleague, Mark, for being there. Mark Freeman, him and I have a very good, positive relationship. We work very well together. He's just right next to me. He's in District 1. So I appreciate all he does and his contributions. And of course, I've got to thank Sally. Sally, you've always been a great supporter of what I do in District 5, as well as the chamber. So thank you so much for the invitation to be here. So I just wanted to talk to you about a few things that have been happening in District 5. And many of you may be familiar and maybe not familiar. So I'm just going to go over some things. But I did want to introduce my new assistant, Antonia Mejia. Antonia has been working with me since May of this year. Antonia is a former reporter for Telemundo as well as Channel 12. So she has a very strong video background. And of course, those that know me, of course, Bob knows this. And Sally, my background's in television. I majored in television at the University of Arizona. I got my master's from ASU, from the Walter Cronkite School. And so television is in my heart. So we both gravitated to each other and say, hey, why don't we produce some videos? So today you're going to get treated with some videos that I produced in my tenure as your city council member. But most recently, Antonia has been developing some really cool little videos to put in my social media. So I want to thank her for that. And hopefully we can get this going without not too many issues relative to the technology. So, well, first of all, I want to update you on the Home 2 Suites by Hilton at Mesa Longbow. We had a ribbon cutting on the 10th of August. It was a real positive event. We had a lot of people show up. Now, those that aren't familiar with the hotel, it's 111 rooms, both studio and 2-room suites with fully accessorized kitchens. They call it Spin 2 Cycle, which really combines a laundry room and a fitness area. Home 2 Market for grab and go items for complimentary daily breakfast. And now I'd like to go ahead and show you the video. So roll the video. And I'm not sure who has control of that.
David, you told me yesterday your assistant was going to do that for you.
Okay.
Yes, good morning, everybody. It's Antonia. So I have the video linked up and ready to go on my computer. I just clicked on it. I'm not sure how that would appear on everybody else's screen.
Well, we're sharing the screen, so we should be able to see it if you've gone through screen share.
Let's see. So let's do this. I will check out that screen share right now and I'll see if Councilmember Luna can move on and maybe perhaps we can show it at the end of the recap. Only-
Alrighty.
Yeah, only because I have it. We'll keep moving on and then oh, here we go. Okay. Everybody can see my screen, right?
Four, three, two, one. This is something that we've wanted for a long time. Location here could be more strategic. It's right next to Boeing, right next to the golf courses, right next to a lot of eating. Very well received in the city. Our Director of Economic Development, Bill Virginiak, here with us today. So Bill, tell me your thoughts about it.
This has been a long time coming. We've been to this in Northeast Mesa for quite a few years. And you know what's great? It's here and it's just the beginning. There's a lot more yet to come. So that's exciting.
Five, four, three, two, one. All righty, I think we got that, right? You all were able to see that?
Got it.
Okay, good. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Antonio. Antonia, I knew we'd want to make sure that those links worked and they did. So thank you so much. Also at Longo, which you will be seeing in the future, is 12 West Brewing Company, west of southwest corner of Longmont Parkway and Recker and Road is a proposed development. So many of you already know 12 West Brewing Company, which is located in downtown Mesa. So they're proposing to have a 15,000 square foot brewery with 2,000 square foot tap room. So that's going to be exciting. Another thing is happening in Ascend at Longo High Point, southwest corner of Longo Parkway and Recker Road. That's currently being zoned. It's a mixed use development, commercial and multifamily. And of course, Denny's, north side of Longo Parkway, that started construction already. Majestic 202, if you've driven along Greenfield and Virginia and along the 202, you've seen some industrial buildings. There's two industrial buildings. One's 87,236 square feet. The other one is 71,420 square foot building, and it's divisible. So they'll be able to divide that and accommodate any tenants. And that's under construction, of course, and it should be done at the end of the quarter of 2021. So that's going to be exciting. And of course, if you've driven by Boeing, you've seen in the northeast corner of Greenfield and McDowell, that's still in construction and it's near completion. That's a 155,000 square foot building. It's a fabrication center for Boeing. And if you've driven along Falcon Field Airport, you'll also see some great hangars being built. They're located, of course, on Greenfield and Mallory Circle. There are 6 buildings. They're aviation spec developments with taxiway access under construction. That broke ground in June of 2020. Approximately 394,000 square feet of mixed use hangars, with hangars ranging in size from 4,000 to 15,000 square feet. So that's a real exciting development, and we appreciate them taking advantage of the opportunity zone development to build those hangars. We're seeing retail as well as on Power and University in the north and northeast corner of McCallum's Road and Power Road, and that's being proposed. An additional restaurant with drive-through, which is 3,500 square feet, as well as auto service, which is 2,500 square feet. And we're going to have a Kentucky Fried Chicken on 241 North Power. That's still in the construction. So a lot of great things are happening in District 5. And I'm going to show you a video that I produced recently to encourage potential people to come in and develop in Northeast Mesa. So if you want to go ahead and run that video, Antonia, it's the one on D5.
Now is the time for you to be a part of the most emerging business area in the East Valley, Mesa's Falcon District. Falcon Field and Northeast Mesa offers endless possibilities for business development. Mesa's Falcon District. Grow, expand, emerge.
Thanks, Antonia. We developed that video in cooperation, of course, with Economic Development and Channel 11. And the idea was to provide this video to some brokers interested in the East Valley and, of course, District 5. And so this video is available for those individuals that might be interested. But we also wanted to showcase some areas that could prove for some potential development. So that's real exciting. So I do want to thank Channel 11 for producing that. As many of you, or you may not know, but I am chair of the Public Safety Committee of the City of Mesa. So I just wanted to touch on a few things that both the Mesa Fire and Mesa Police have provided for me. So most recently with Mesa Fire and Medical, along with other city staff, they delivered over 65,000 COVID vaccines from January to June of 2021. Currently, Mesa Fire and Medical has 31 new recruits starting a 16-week academy in September, funded by the Mesa Public Safety Sales Tax. Station 222, which is a North Public Safety facility located on Brown and Power, is currently in the design phase, and we're very fortunate that that's happening. The public really wanted to have a police fire station in Northeast Mesa, and it'll also relieve some of the issues as it relates to superstition. So we're very happy about that. We're glad that voters decided to approve that, and that should open in the summer of 23. Fire Station 221 is slated for October 21, and that will provide coverage in East Mart and Southeast Mesa. The Mesa Police and Fire, Mesa Fire Medical also submitted a RFP for an electric fire truck, which is really exciting. And I think my colleague on council, Mr. Freeman, had an opportunity to see that. Mesa will be one of the first in the country to deploy this technology. They're hoping to have this on the road by the end of 2022. So it'll be our first electric fire truck. So that's going to be exciting. Also, the Mesa Fire Medical have received 6 new fire engines as replacement to the fleet. They will be in operation by October of 2021. And as far as the Mesa Safety Sales Tax has enabled to update some of the facilities here in the city of Mesa, has helped train paramedics, aircraft rescue firefighters, hazardous material technicians, technical rescue technicians, along with incident command leadership. And Tony, if it's okay, I want to go ahead and just read real quickly some updates from Mesa Police Department before we run that video. So the Mesa Police Department, some updates. They are doing some advanced tactical training, which is very exciting for their bureau. The program focuses on effective communication, de-escalation tactics and techniques, and review a recently updated use of force policies. They're also doing the Code 4 concepts. This is designed to implement a defensive tactic program based on proven methods and principles that allow officers to effectively gain a violent subject with minimal risk of injury and subjects involved. So that's exciting. They are also continuing their educational programs with their officers, and they are including some web-based training platforms with emphasis on civil rights, liability issues, effective communication techniques, and emergency vehicle operations. So we're very excited that they're doing that. The Mesa Police Department field training program was redesigned with the emphasis placed on show, teach, train, mentor philosophy. So they've implemented a new philosophy there. And as far as accreditation, the policy accreditation section is in the midst of the accreditation process. They hope to complete this really soon. They're hoping by 2022 they will have the accreditation, and it's with the Arizona Law Enforcement Accreditation Program. As far as the holding facility, they're still waiting for final results in the assessment by the National Institute of Jail Operations to make sure we are in compliance. And of course, they continue to work on hiring more officers. They've processed 703 applications, including full backgrounds in 2020. So they're estimating they will have 882 applications filed by 2021. So that continues to be very, very active. The VINE system implementation, victim information and notification everyday system, provides real-time updates to victims regarding defendant status from arrest to release from custody. So they've implemented that system. They have an ASU intern from MOU, which means the Mesa Fire. I'm not sure what that means. Anyway, they have this intern. It's called
Could be tricky.
I just got these notes. I'm trying to figure what they're on. And they're continuing their Operation Summer projects as it relates to our homeless initiatives and participate in numerous community meetings throughout the city of Mesa. So if you don't mind, Antonio, why don't we show them the video that we produce as it relates to some training that the officers go through. And so,
And I got proper.
it certainly gave me an understanding of what police officers have to go through. You're put into a very stressful environment and you have to react quickly. I found it quite traumatic, and it was certainly nerve-wracking to be put in those kind of situations.
Yeah, so he's got a large knife in his hand right there, and he's gonna charge like right at you. So look at the screen off to your right over here.
So I appreciate having gone through this situation. So that was a real cool experience. So I would encourage you, if you can do it, to go through that simulator training. It was certainly eye-opening and really gave me an understanding of what our officers have to face when they get into a situation like that. So anyway, that was a lot of fun. But I continue to be really busy throughout the city of Mesa, not only representing District 5 and being chair of Public Safety Committee, but I'm fortunate that I get to represent the Arizona Museum of Natural History as well, serving as my role as city council member. So we're going to show you a real quick video on the new exhibit at the Arizona Museum of Natural History. Hi guys, I'm here with my grandkids, Sophia and Henry, and we are here at the Arizona Natural History Museum here in downtown city of Mesa. We're here to see some great new exhibits. Come on over. Wow, that's a lot of great here at the Arizona Natural History Museum. So come check it out. See you later. Bye-bye. All right, thank you. And as my final video, I happen to attend the IDEA Museum's, oh, whoops. Oh, the IDEA Museum's opening of their new exhibit as well. So we're going to show that real quick if you don't mind doing that, Antonio. We'll show the IDEA Museum. Hi, David Luna, and we are at the ID Museum.
I'm Councilmember David and we have a brand new exhibit.
It's called Logo Art. Check it out. The good thing about this brochure is that you can get a stamp.
Thank you, Councilmember Stillbury.
They've got some great art pieces, like this piece of art. It's a robot.
Hey, Councilmember Stillbury.
So support your local museum here at the ID Museum in Mesa. All righty, that completes my presentation. I would encourage you to visit the Arizona Museum of Natural History as well as the IDEA Museum. We have some great museums downtown Mesa, but I do want to thank my assistant Antonia for putting those videos together. She shoots them really quickly and is able to put them up on my social media. So expect to see more social media productions like this in the future while I'm still in office. So anyway, thank you for giving me an opportunity. I don't know if, I know Sally, we're tight on time, but anyway, thank you for giving me the opportunity to be able to present what's going on in District 5, as well as what's happening in public safety and a little bit about our museums. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you so much, Councilmember. That was very entertaining and informative. And so grateful really for all of your video work. What a great contribution to the city's work. So thank you so much.
You're
And
welcome.
yeah, we are going to move on. Certainly a busy time for our Superintendent of Schools, Dr. Fourlis. And so we thank you so much for being here this morning and look forward to your update.
Thank you, and I'm learning I need to stand by the owl,
The
right?
owl, yes.
Okay, so the owl and I are gonna be friends. How are we doing? All right, and which direction should I
You
look?
just talk. You're good. It will follow you.
It's frightening.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, that's kind of like when you have little toddlers, right? They just follow you everywhere. Okay, well, good morning. I'm proud to be the superintendent of Mesa Public Schools and like to provide an update to you today. Many of you drive past our schools and you see that we've got kids and school buses running and school is open. We've got 57,000 kids that are coming to our 85 schools every single day. So let me walk you through what does that look like in 2021-22. As we opened up schools, we really need to have a strong focus on leadership because leadership matters more than ever before as we're navigating these very uncertain times, not only in our community, but within our school communities. We have a strong focus on health and safety. If we think back historically, public health was pretty much a voluntary compliance. That's changed these days. So we're navigating new times as we think about public health. Want to share some information about the operations of our district. How many meals are we providing every single day? How many employees are we hiring? Because that's a part of the health of our school district as well. And then if we have time, because I knew that Councilmember Luna was before me, I have a 2-minute video on learning in action. So thank you for that challenge, Councilmember Luna. I'm gonna see how well I can do here. So we talk about a leadership focus. And as I speak to our leaders throughout Mesa Public Schools, this very simple quote or comment matters a lot. What we do as leaders matters. And it matters more than ever because the decisions that we make, the leadership moves that we make in Mesa Public Schools has a direct connect to how our community lives, learns, works, and plays. So we have to think about every decision we make has such a larger impact. And that has rung true very much throughout the world of negotiating education through the world of COVID. So when I visit principals, I keep reminding them what you do matters every single day. And I'm also going to share a question that I ask them every time I meet with them as well. We know we have no question about why we do the work that we do. Every day that we get up and we come into work in Mesa Public Schools, our job is to do one thing, and that is to fulfill the Mesa Public School promise. And that is to know our kids by name, serve them by strength and need, so that they graduate ready for college, career, and the community. That's what our community wants. That's what our community expects of us. And so we have to stay centered on that promise every single day. And that takes courageous leadership and a whole lot of creativity. So when I go to schools, I'm constantly asking this question. So how are our kids and how do we know? When we look at lots and lots of data, right now, our kids and our families are very, very concerned about the well-being of children. And so when the well-being of children includes academics, they're really focusing a whole lot of their conversations on how are my kids? Is there a sense of belonging at this school? Do you know my child's name? Do you know their strengths and needs? And so we're paying very close attention to how are our kids and constantly responding to that. So I'm going to give you a snapshot of some academic data that I'm going to tell you is not good enough. We are going to do better than this. 2020-21, this is COVID data. We tested all of our kids, and this is just English language arts, grades 3 through 10. And you will see the Arizona state averages, and then you will see Mesa Public Schools. We are below the state average in all grade levels except for one. We're close, but we're below. And we know that we can do better than that. So that means that we have to put concentrated efforts towards increasing the literacy rates of our children. So the way I speak about it with our teachers and with our administrators is that we have to treat literacy as if it's a currency. And what that means is that literacy buys opportunity, it buys knowledge, it buys skills, and it buys a future for children. So we know that kids who are able to read and write and speak and listen at high levels defy all of the negative impacts of poverty. It puts them on the pathway to jobs. It puts them on the pathway to a healthier life. Because we know that there's a common statistic among those who are incarcerated, and that is a lack of ability to read. So we have to break that model. In fact, there's quite a bit of research that prison beds are determined by your 3rd grade reading proficiency in a community. The lower 3rd grade reading proficiency, the more prison beds you need. So we have to work very, very closely on increasing that performance. And again, that's performance during COVID. And so many of our kids were in a remote environment. Their families had to bring them in to take a test. It was not the data. I'm not going to put a lot of stock in the data, but it's still telling us we've got a lot of work to do. So as we think about Mesa Public Schools, 60% of our children qualify for free and reduced lunch. So that means that is top of mind, that we have to treat literacy as if it's a currency like anything else. It has high value, and it's a transactional response that kids can own a life that they want to live. So not only are academics important, but we engaged our community in 2019 and we asked them, connected to that promise, what does it mean? What do you want for your graduate in this era of education? What do you really want for them when they cross that finish line in Mesa Public Schools? And they quickly told us, we want our children to be ethical. We want them to be inclusive. We want them to be resilient. We've practiced a lot of resiliency during COVID. We've gotten knocked down and we come right back up. We got knocked down and we come up a little slower. Sometimes we get knocked down and we come back a little faster. So there's been a whole lot of resiliency practiced among our children and our families and our staff. We also want them to emulate and to have the skills when they graduate to be collaborators, to be communicators, community contributors, creative thinkers, innovators, problem solvers, and critical thinkers. This is what our business community tells us. We can train for content, but we need our graduates, those coming into the workforce, to be willing to exercise and flex the muscles of these particular professional skills. So we're taking that very seriously, and that begins in preschool. In preschool, how are children communicating? How are they collaborating? How are they problem solving? So that works throughout our entire system. So not only are we focused on academics, we want to make sure that we are delivering on these essential attitudes and skills that we know that our community wants and needs, and our business, certainly our business community needs to thrive. So I'll show you an example. Councilmember Luna, this is just a picture, no video. So here we go. This is a group of 3rd graders. This is the first week of school, first 3 days of school. 3rd graders, as a team at Salk Elementary, they created a 3rd grade mission across all of their classrooms. And the mission is, as 3rd graders, we are respectful leaders who work together as a team to build our bright futures. That's what that looks like and sounds like. So when I talk about that Mesa Public School promise, what does that look like in 3rd grade? What does that look like to see the portrait of the graduate coming together? And you will see our young learners here that are working in teams. I had the opportunity to visit when I was in this classroom. The teacher was talking about reading and why it's so important that they become strong readers so that they can have great jobs. So I butted in and I asked the question, can I ask the kids a question? Because when she said, what do you want to be when you grow up? They said, I want to deliver pizza. I want to take blood from people. Like they were talking about jobs that they have seen and done. And so I said, can I ask a question? And the teacher said, sure. And I said, what problems do you want to solve? And they said, I want to get rid of COVID. I want to get rid of homelessness. I want people to stop fighting in our streets. I want people to be nicer to one another. So when we ask the right questions, we can gear our kids up to live into the Mesa Public School promise. So a promise is just a promise. We've got to have some goals to get us there. So we engaged in some strategic planning. It was slow moving and rolling out over COVID, but we were tenacious and we kept moving forward. And so these are our 5 goals that we believe when we wrap those around the portrait of the graduate will help us to accomplish our promise. And the reason that the portrait of the graduate is right smack in the middle is that this keeps us student-centered. We come to work every single day for 57,000 children. We don't come because of what we're interested in as adults. We come to our schools every single day to make sure that we are living into that portrait of a graduate. So in our education talk, I'm going to share, I'll put this together and then share a theory of action. So we believe that in order to achieve our promise, we have to focus on that portrait of a graduate, and our foundation are 5 strategic goals. So when we put this together into a theory of action, we believe as a system that if we create a sense of belonging by igniting a culture of learning and well-being, that's one of our goals, maintaining trust and transparency by engaging our community, another goal, and aligning our resources, another goal, to ensure equitable opportunities for all kids. We can do all of that, then we are going to deliver on our Mesa Public School promise. So that sounds like a simple formula. It is a lot of great work that is being done by great people. So that's where our commitment is. And so if you are asked, what is Mesa Public Schools doing? I'm hopeful that you can help to share that message, that we are focused on a promise, that we are graduating our kids ready for college, career, and community, and that we've got goals to get there. So how are our kids and how do we know? Talked a little bit about academics and about our reading proficiencies. We have polled many of our stakeholders, and we know that 93%, this is just one data point, 93% of our leaders indicated that staff and student wellness is very important to them and the work that we do. That has to be top of mind. If our children are safe and have a sense of belonging, they will also engage in academics. It's very difficult to do the reverse. It's very hard for kids to engage in reading if they don't have a sense of belonging and feel good about what they're doing. We know that we need to support mental and physical health. That came through in all of the focus groups that I did with administrators, with teachers, and with students last spring during COVID, we in a remote environment. Lots and lots of information and data comes back. Again, to the top of the list is focusing on the health and well-being of our children and our staff. And in our students, when we do some student surveys and conversations with students, they were very honest and said, we need to be better at that teacher-student relationship. They need to know our name. They need to know our strengths. They need to know our needs. And it's not just the adults' perceived needs of kids. It's what the kids are telling us that they need. We have to be willing to hear it. So that is a high priority. So in order to do that, I believe that we put together this model around being warm demanders, high expectations with high relationship. As a community, you expect high expectations from Mesa Public Schools. You expect high expectations from our graduates. So we have to elevate our expectations and couple that with relationships to get us to where our kids belong. So a warm demander by definition is you expect great things, convince others of their own brilliance, and then you help them to reach their potential. If we expect less, we will get it. If we expect more, we'll get that too, but only if we're intentionally building those relationships to get there. So let's talk about health and safety. This is the one that my email box is, I have to tell you, I don't have a lot of emails about how are our kids reading. I have a whole lot of emails about health and safety in this world right now. So that's our reality. We've got mitigation strategies in place right now that stay home when sick. If you are feeling symptoms, please stay home. Masks are recommended in our schools and on school property. We are following the current legislation, and now we know that some things have changed, but we continue to watch that. Lots and lots of hand washing. I was at Patterson Elementary School and I learned their phrase. Clean hands or safe hands. So we make sure that we're constantly washing hands. Limitations on large gatherings. And large gatherings being outside, doing our best to physically distance. We've been doing vaccination clinics. I love that Councilmember Luna shared some data about Mesa Fire and Medical providing vaccines. A lot of that was in partnership with Mesa Public Schools. We are going to be doing another round of that, taking a look at where we have high transmission zip codes and low vaccination rates. We are going to target those areas and then partner again to get vaccines back out into the community. We just did another round of vaccines. We had about 250 that were administered, but we need to keep going. Rapid tests are available at our schools. They're going rapidly. So we need more of them. They're coming from Maricopa County Health Department. It was kind of cute. We signed up for them and they said, we'll provide 24 tests. I'm like, for 24 minutes, like for how long? So we have a delivery. We've had a delivery of 1,200 and they are going very quickly. So what we're able to do with parent consent, we can do a rapid test in the nurse's office. We have quarantine protocols that we are continuing to pay attention to. I can tell you right now, we have 1,600 kids and adults in quarantine. We have 259 students that are positive, and we have about 75 adults that are positive right now. So we're watching it every minute.
These adults are the teachers or just staff?
Staff,
Just-
the majority are teachers and instructional assistants. We have a couple in our, departments that are not nearly what we have from school personnel.
I'm just curious, are the kids getting sick or are they just testing positive? Are they coming down with severe symptoms?
We have the reports on if they are positive.
Okay.
I have stories when I go to schools and I say, how are our kids and how are they doing? Some will say, well, I got one that has a really high fever and we're having a heck of a time, but they always have a hard time getting them down. We are not seeing a lot of severe symptoms being reported to us. But COVID is alive and well in our schools. So we do COVID reporting to staff and families. We have lots of letters that go out. If you are I forget, we have all the people over here. So if you are a parent in Mesa Public Schools or an employee in Mesa Public Schools, you get the letters. The minute that we know, by the end of the day, if we know somebody's positive on a campus or a department, they get a letter or multiple letters in your school, on your bus, in your classroom. So we're constantly monitoring that. We will be instituting a dashboard again, and so there will be more, we're going to try to do it daily, but that's preview of coming attractions. So that's COVID, and we can talk more if you've got questions about that. I know that I've got 36 slides to do in 20 minutes, so this is the Andi Fourlis Talk Fast. So operations of the district. When oftentimes people will say, well, you're the largest school district in the state of Arizona. Yes, but what does that mean? So let me tell you some of the things. One of our goals is to align our resources so that they have the best impact on educational outcomes. So when we think about what we do, it's about creating better opportunities and outcomes for kids. So here's just a laundry list of things that happened within our facilities throughout the summer, getting ready for school. Huge community support and loving that we have 2 sand volleyball courts that just went in, new ones at Skyline and Westwood. That seems to be a big deal. Pickleball courts are going in for the community to use as well. So lots of things going on here. When we take a look at food and nutrition, this is important. When I talked about mitigating the negative impacts of poverty, we feed kids. And throughout COVID, we have been able to provide free meals to all students, regardless of their free and reduced lunch status. So we have free meals. We have, for the first 3 days of school, we served over 40,000 breakfasts, 108,000 lunches, and $11,648 in the a la carte items. So we're feeding a lot of kids. We have 5-day food boxes for our remote students, and I'll talk to you about what remote looks like in just a minute. So we're doing the whole week of a food box for any child that has chosen remote learning. Human resources, we've hired 489 certificated staff, those with a certificate, an administrator or a teacher. And then you'll see others, 297 classified staff, 28 coaches, 142 substitutes, and 42 in process. So We are hiring in Mesa Public Schools. We're just like any other business right now that is having a hard time maintaining a stable staff. And we do have vacancies. So we're a great place to work. I have to promise you. So let's talk a little bit about, I said remote students. We used our federal dollars to create the Mesa virtual campus. What we learned through COVID is that our children, families had two choices, in-person learning or remote. And remote was a lot of what we call asynchronous. Kids are navigating by themselves. What our community told us is that they would like a synchronous environment where the children are learning from home, but they have a teacher for every class period or every subject. They have a teacher all day long, they're in a class and it's a remote environment. That is what we call Mesa Virtual Campus. We have over 1,000 students who have enrolled kindergarten through 12th grade, and we have a waiting list and 51 teachers are teaching those children. So we designed a K-12 school from the spring to August 3rd. So that is our remote environment. So children who have chosen that model, they get those 5-day food boxes. They don't need to keep coming every single day to pick up breakfast and lunch. So we keep asking ourselves, how do we continually re-recruit our current employees? We've got to make sure that we've got to keep the ones we have and then continue to look for new talent to come into Mesa Public Schools. Engaging our community. I'll talk a little bit about enrollment. We had significant enrollment efforts happening over the summer, and then we're still open for enrollment as well. We need employees and we're welcome, and we are open for more kids. So here's an example. We turned our bank building first floor into an enrollment site because we know that sometimes it's difficult to navigate all of that. So this is a darling family with a brand new kindergartner. She got a new book and she's ready to go. We love our schools. They've got their stickers, they're ready to go. You will see a lot of different ways that we have engaged in a marketing campaign. You will see the mayor and Councilmember Luna, Councilmember Freeman. I think you were out front in some of the schools, talking about our schools, saying, you know, we are Mesa. We are Mesa Public Schools. We are the city. Schools are the heartbeat of a community, and we are all in this together. We were able to get some ads up at some of our shopping malls. Choose us, choose us. The city of Chandler allowed us to put ads up on their bus areas. So we were really strategic, you know, 1 mile west, Pomeroy's around the corner. We do have schools in the city of Chandler. Oh, this is kind of interesting. All of our data, when families enroll, we ask a question. How did you hear about us? The #1 answer, the marquee. So we are continuing to get those marquees up and done and ready to go. Social media, we're loving this influence of taking parents that are telling their story of why they have chosen Mesa Public Schools. We do that in English and we do it in Spanish. And of course, we have our Facebook, our social media frames. We love our schools. You'll see the stickers on the backs of cars or magnets on the backs of cars as well. So what about enrollment? This has been a big question across the United States around what did COVID do to enrollment in our public school system. So as of August 16th, that's day 10 for us, we had 57,059 kindergarten through 12th grade students, and we have 1,300 preschoolers. So how does that compare is probably another question that you're wondering. And if you look down here at the bottom, our projection for this year, week 3 was 56,116 kids. So we know that we have planned for a steady decline. We hope with all of the economic development that is happening that we continue to learn about, that families come into Mesa, bring their kids to Mesa Public Schools. So you will see that was a plan. So we are up over projection, which for us in COVID is a huge celebration. But then we might ask ourselves, so what happened pre-COVID? Well, we're down 7% from our pre-COVID numbers, which was 2019-20. While we had planned for a decline, we know that we still have about 4,400 kids. That is our difference between pre-COVID and today.
Dr. Fourlis, on that
Yes.
number, can I ask a quick question?
Yes.
Sally and I had breakfast back in July, and we talked about you lost some students. No, I don't mean lost. You couldn't find some students. They moved away. You didn't know where they moved to.
Correct.
Do you have any idea of that 7.2%? What percentage of that percent is that student population.
It's
that
a
moved away?
smaller
No.
percentage. I don't know the exact number, but it is not the bulk of that 7%. It is smaller. And what we are seeing is the families go where they can afford to live. And so when they leave, oftentimes they just leave. They don't come back to unenroll. They just leave in them, quickly to go where they can find safe and stable housing.
Sure.
And then the other is that we, in a digital environment, all of our kids have a laptop and we can see where they're logging in, and throughout school open and closure, we had kids logging on from multiple countries and multiple states.
Thank you.
So yes, I wish I had a better number for you so that you've piqued my interest on what that is exactly. And then of course, people are always interested in class size, so you'll see what our averages are. We are intentionally keeping our class sizes lower because we know that our kids, when we're talking about a sense of belonging, back to what we continue to hear, we need to build tight networks of children that care for one another and that relationship with their teacher. These lower class sizes also allow us for better social distancing. So, igniting a culture of learning and well-being, I've talked quite a bit about that. So we ask the question again, how are our kids and how do we know? So here's an example from Fremont Junior High. First day of school, I walk into English language arts class and a 7th grade teacher. And she says, in your journal, please let me know what I need to know about you this year. She gave some examples of what they might want to share. But the most important sentence that she says is, because this information is going to make me a better teacher for you. That's as simple as it can be to say this sense of belonging and getting to know our kids. So it's not a lot of sophisticated programs. It's not a new curriculum. It's just a way of how we engage our kids through the curriculum, knowing how important social emotional connections to our children are. So where are we headed? Here's the summary slide. I think I might have almost made it. A strong commitment to literacy. We believe that is the currency that buys children a future. Social and emotional wellness of staff and students. Dedicating ourselves to make sure that that Mesa Public School promise comes alive through the work that we're doing through the Portrait of the Graduate and those 5 strategic goals. And then being very thoughtful about inclusivity and innovation. Who would have known that we could have created a K-12 school from the spring to August 3rd in such short order? But COVID taught us we can do anything. And we absolutely can do anything. So we are committed to our kids, we're committed to this community, and we know that great, strong schools make a great, strong community and a workforce. So I don't think we have time for the 2-minute video.
I would, do you have a couple of things that you're gonna?
Oh, it's all Bart's in.
Okay.
I'll just do a couple, I'm just gonna do.
Okay, great. So roll that beautiful bean footage.
Oh, we could see that. How can you deny that face? I knew that when you saw the face, you'd have to see the video. Are we ready?
Yes.
The first day of school is a special time in our community. This is a time where families come together to bring their kids to their schools, to get to know their teachers, and to build friendships and relationships. We know that schools are the heartbeat of our community. And so our first day of school is such a celebration, and it has been awesome to be able to see the work of our teachers, of our front office staff, and our leaders who have intentionally planned to welcome our students back to the 2021-22 school year. support at Mesa Public Schools. As you drive by a school, just know there's a lot of hard people working really hard to support our kids. And I appreciate all the support from all of you. And it does take a community to teach kids. So thank you.
Thank you. Such a dynamic environment for education these days.
Wow.
And really want to thank you for expanding the discussion beyond the obvious today and helping us understand how the educational system is working to support
We're still moving
our
forward.
future leaders in third grade. Who knew?
Who knew?
I said to Ward, I was not that smart in third grade. So
Right.
glad
How do you like
they are
that
now.
statement?
Exactly.
I know, so proud of them and our teachers.
Thank you. That was really fabulous to watch. All right, well, thank you, everyone. And now we are very pleased to have Vartan with us from the U.S. Chamber.
You got it. Thank you
And
so
so
much.
glad to have you in town and stuff, and
Thank
tell us
you.
what you know.
I'm very fortunate to have had two wonderful presentations this morning. I'm going to take that back with me. I really appreciate it. My name is Vartan with the Western Region of the U.S. Chamber of Commerce. I cover California, Nevada, Arizona, Utah, and Hawaii. This is my first trip back to Arizona in about a year and a half, so I didn't want to miss my chance to come and see all of you. And I really want to thank Sally, Eric, and the entire team here at the Mesa Chamber for all your help over the past year and a half in helping the small businesses here get through the pandemic. We had a number of programs, the PPP program, the EIDL program, the Shutter Venue grant, and the Chamber here was so helpful in walking the small businesses get through those processes. So very grateful for that. It's not over yet, unfortunately, but you guys are ahead of us. I live in LA and everything's been on lockdown. So we just barely peeked our heads out in July, and now they're, looks like they might shut down again. But I know we're limited on time. The one main issue that I wanted to talk about was infrastructure. This is an issue that we've been working on for a very long time. Finally, the Senate approved an infrastructure bill. It's about $1.1 trillion. It's going to help do things like improve our roads and bridges, airports. Unfortunately, Congress is shockingly holding it hostage now because they don't want to pass. They want to pass a budget resolution first, which is about $3.5 trillion for what they're calling human infrastructure, which does a bunch of things. It's a lot more controversial spending. They want to pay for community colleges for everybody. They want to include childcare in there. These items are really going to bog down the process. So and unfortunately, they're going to raise corporate taxes to exorbitant rates. We're at 21%. It's going to go up to 28%. It's going to raise the capital gains taxes. And you say, well, these are big corporations, Amazon and Microsoft and all these companies. But really, it's going to affect small businesses. There are about 30,000 small businesses in Arizona which would be affected by this. It would affect consumers. Our utility costs are going to go up. So we're trying to do everything we can to say, don't forget about the $3.5 trillion right now. We need to focus on getting infrastructure done because our roads and bridges are unfortunately falling apart. It's infrastructure is kind of like when you have a leak in your roof. If you address it right away, it'll be a small fix, but if you let it go, it's going to get out of control. Unfortunately, we're at the point where infrastructure is really crumbling now. We need to get something done. We don't want it to be held hostage by this massive budget right now. So anything you can do to push your congressman here. I know Andy Biggs is a big supporter of ours. If you have any influence with Congressman Greg Stanton, please put some pressure on Mr. Stanton. He's going to be pivotal in this. He's kind of viewed as a moderate on this issue, and we're hoping that he'll go ahead and oppose that budget resolution. So if you see him, please encourage him to do that to support infrastructure. And that's really it. We're working on other things like the PRO Act. We're continuing to work on the ADA issue. Sally really brought that to my attention here. I shared the story here that you had, and really grateful for all the feedback that you provide for us. And I know we're limited on time. If you ever need to reach us, contact Sally, contact Eric, and we're happy to be a support here. And hopefully next time I can come and do a broader presentation. So thank you,
still have
Sally.
a few minutes.
Oh, do I? Okay.
Yeah, you got a couple, yeah.
Okay, good. I'm actually headed to the airport right after this.
Okay,
But
I have a question.
yes.
For all the states that you regionally,
Yeah.
for any state, have you heard of anyone not receiving the ARPA funds or ARPA funds? It depends on how you say it, but because there's some counties and cities that have yet to get the money, but they have appropriated it. Is that
Right.
something that you're seeing?
So I do occasionally see that. Unfortunately, sometimes the problem is that the local municipal governments have not applied. And so, so that's where I see the biggest problem, but I know, you're dealing with the federal government, it's gonna trickle out slowly. I encourage you to, contact Andi Biggs' office if you're encountering problems with that.
Well, I don't have any, I'm
Or
just
no,
curious
no.
because I have clients that are going after some of those movies, but in some of these jurisdictions or municipalities, it just hasn't shown up yet.
Yes,
So.
Andi Biggs should be able to help you out and his staff. They have caseworkers who might be able to like shake some trees, contact some agencies back in DC. The other issue that we're really working on is the PRO Act, which is this unionization bill. It really forces unionization on a lot of small businesses. And what it's going to do is it's going to end up costing a lot of jobs in this area. Essentially, what the legislation does is it says that if you don't support unionization in your, like if you're an employee, you don't support unionization, they're gonna charge you dues anyway, so you're gonna have to pay into the system. It's gonna do things like what they did in California with AB 5, which is essentially outlaw contract workers like Uber drivers and Lyft drivers. They're gonna make them all employees, which is gonna be really hard for them to get through the process. They're also gonna tie, like if you have a small business, a franchise, like a Subway, for example, they're gonna, since the main Subway franchise would be unionized, they'll force that on you. At the end of the day, it's just gonna hurt by costing a lot of jobs in this area. We're very fortunate to have Senator Sinema support in opposing this. Anything you can do to talk to Senator Kelly as well to stay out the PRO Act would be very, very helpful. And Congressman Biggs is a big supporter of ours as well. Those are the main two issues that we're working on right now, and any feedback that you could provide to your members of Congress would be very helpful on that. Are there any other questions about what's going on the federal level right now? ADA reform is something that we're continuing to work on. I was just up in talking to somebody in California. They had 30 small businesses in their area that got hit by these drive-by lawsuits. It's the same guy who's hitting them all up. My family's business was hit by one of the website ADA violations, and the problem there is that we were actually compliant. We had fixed the website to be 100% compliant, but once you get your name on the lawsuit, you have to pay an attorney to get your name off. Not only did they do that once, they did it a second time as well, and that's really and that hurts a lot of small businesses, especially when the margins are often so thin. So that's continuing to be a priority for us. And of course, we're dealing with all the COVID stuff. Hopefully, we won't need to have another COVID relief bill, provided that all of our areas continue to stay open. So thank you so much.
Thank
Really
you.
appreciate the time.
Yep, and fly safely.
Thank you.
And hopefully it's a quick trip.
Of course, thank you. I really appreciate it. Again, thank you, Sally and Eric, for everything that you're doing here, helping the small businesses get through this period. It's amazing. I mean, I can't believe it's been a year and a half, but almost a year and a half. But we got to the other side,
So far.
Yeah, so far.
We want to stay on the other side.
Exactly.
And that being said, I want to thank everybody for being here this morning, and we will hope that our next meeting, September 17th, will also be at least a hybrid. And everyone stay safe out there, and thank you for being here.
Stay connected to Mesa Chamber social media, email newsletters, Monday morning message, and mesachamber.org to always know what's happening at your Mesa Chamber.